We are writers, we are wordsmiths, we are people who live and die by the words that we put into things to write stuff. So now we're going to have a word to describe Ohio State's 6-0 start to this season. Nathan, Stephen, Doug. Nathan Baird, Mr. Wordsmith, how would you describe the Buckeyes so far?
I would say arrived. This was a team that had a lot of question marks coming into the season. Maybe some of it was nitpicking, some of it was legitimate. First-year quarterback, first-time head coach, a defense that got pretty beat up last year, and they've just answered every question. So here they are. I mean, this is the team. In some ways, they fulfilled people's wildest hopes of what this team could be 6 games into the year, and now the only question is, what do they do with these next 6 games, and do they fulfill what seems to be the promise that is in front of them?
I would say when you say arrived, the thing that I think of too is sort of arriving back in that top echelon of college football. That as good as they had been, Clemson and Bama had sort of pulled away from them. And I feel like maybe they have arrived back at that level where you wouldn't put anybody ahead of them. There are teams just as good, but I don't think they're a step down from anybody.
Yeah, and also sort of arrived back at this moment now. Like, here you are. You're kind of maybe potentially like leading the race now for a playoff spot. You could make a very compelling case that Ohio State's the number 1 seed right now in a potential playoff scenario. And what do you do with it? You know, how do you make the most of it now going forward?
First week in November, first playoff rankings. We'll be watching for that. Stephen, what's your word? You're good at wordy stuff.
My word is overachieving, and here's why it's overachieving. Obviously, the talent is what it is, but I don't think any of us looked at this team, when you look at all the new parts, new coach, new quarterback who wasn't here last year, new defensive assistant coaches, a lot of new offensive line, a lot of new guys, a lot in different positions, and yet they're playing like the team we thought they had the potential to get to, maybe by like Wisconsin or Penn State week is where they would get to, but it would look ugly the first couple of weeks, and it looked ugly a little bit against Michigan State in the first quarter, but for the most part, Justin Fields is like a Heisman candidate. Ryan Day looked like an offensive genius. This defense looks like the best defense in the country. None of there was no build-up. They're straight to the point of where we thought they would be at the end of the season, and where we would think, okay, going into 2020, this is a championship contending team. So overachieving is my word.
My word is coagulate, because that's my favorite word, because it has a "gu" in it, like that G and the U right next to each other. That is my favorite word. It doesn't make sense, so I can't actually use it here. I just wanted to say it. Coagulate. My word's controlling, because other than like the first quarter against Michigan State on Saturday night, I feel like they've been in control of everything all the time. Yeah. And it's one thing to have talent. And I mean, that's basically it. It's one thing to have talent, and they have talent everywhere. But sometimes talent gets a little loose. Sometimes talent gets a little bored. Sometimes talent gets a little sloppy.
Hurt. Sometimes talent gets hurt.
But they have really been, I feel like they've been precise. They've been like on point, that they've like almost been like clockwork, and that they haven't given anybody else a chance to breathe. Again, Michigan State, that's why it was so shocking in the first quarter against Michigan State. It's like, well, they're not in complete control for the first time all year. But the other quarters, the other 5 games and the other 3 quarters on Saturday night, they have been. And as much as a team can be explosive and exciting and dynamic, I think to be in control is like a next level kind of thing, and they've gotten there very quickly. Try our texts. projecttext.com/Buckeye Talk. Read our stuff at cleveland.com/OSU. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Any other multimedia stuff we do? I don't know. Oh, read our stories. It's a bye week, but there's lots of coverage ahead. And then the next game, just so you remember, is at Northwestern on a Friday night. So 13 days away or whatever. Set your alarms. Stephen, Nathan, Doug, see you soon at cleveland.com.